Hey guys, we have a new title company in town, Ward Title, and I am here with Wanda and Marie, and they're going to give us a breakdown of what happens at the title company and some of the different things involved with the title company. So, brings me, I guess, to my first question. I guess, what is a title company? What do you guys do here?
We're a third party, mutual to the buyer and the seller, issuing owners and a loan policy for the lenders and the buyers.
You guys issue title insurance here. That's one of the big things you do here at Ward Title. What is it? Can you break that down a little bit for us?
So title insurance is investment protection to safeguard our buyer against any unpaid liens against the property, surprise heirs that may come forward. Anybody who says, oh, I have grounds on this property, says they're due money on the property, that owner's title insurance policy protects the buyer if there ever was a title claim. So that's going to protect the buyer's investment.
Okay, so I guess a buyer comes here. I know we get a lot of questions about, making sure that there's no issues or problems that the seller may have that follow that. So that's what you guys are doing is making sure that they're starting with, I guess, for lack of a better word, blank slate.
Correct.
So.
Yep, so that if the seller had any issues on the property, they don't become the issue of the buyer when the buyer goes to resell.
Okay, so we're past the home inspection, we're past, appraisal, everything's good. We set a closing date, we set a time, we walk into Ward Title. What can a buyer and seller expect on that day?
Buyer can expect to be welcomed into the closing room, sign a good portion of documents that their lender may have provided. At that point, seller would come in and sign their documents as well. The buyer usually brings their down payment to closing, their cash to close, the funds that they have to bring into the table. Seller in turn gets paid, keys are exchanged, and the closing is finalized.
Okay, so that's what a lot of people ask us, when do they get the keys? And that's when you would get the keys, is right after closing. All the money is exchanged, and seller could get a check. They can get a check at closing. Is there other ways they can get their money too, or how does that disperse?
Yep. Seller can get a check. We can wire funds to their bank, however they'd prefer to receive their money.
Okay. Does a seller and buyer need to come to the closing, or a lot of the stuff gets done electronic documents, or how does that, do they have to be here in person?
Generally a seller, depends on where the seller's at, but a lot of times sellers are already out of state, have already left Minot, so we would email documents to them. They print them, sign them before a notary, and overnight them back because we can't close without signed seller docs. A buyer generally comes to closing unless they're also out of state, in which we'd request they find a trusted title company to sign the docs with them wherever it is they are, Colorado, Texas, whatever the case may be. If it's a transaction in which it is a cash transaction, no financing, we don't require that the buyers sign. They could sign remotely. They wouldn't have to physically come to our office for closing.
Okay, awesome. So there's ways around that. So owner's policy, that protects, would be the buyer, the current owner of the property. How does that differ from a lender's policy, or what is that?
A lender's policy is going to ensure the lender that they are going to be in first position.
Okay.
If there was ever a default in payment, then they would have first position to take it back.
Okay. So that's kind of their collateral type of deal? Okay, one of the big things I worry about and stress to other agents and people about is wire fraud. Wire fraud, it's, hitting closer and closer to home here. Can you kind of explain, you guys deal with large chunks of money being wired back and forth, what it is and how we can take precautions so we don't become a victim of it?
Sure. So the good funds rules state that any funds over $50,000 have to come to closing via wire transfer. So those would be us facilitating a set of wiring instructions to the real estate agent, who then provides the wiring instructions to the buyer. So we can see there that those wiring instructions went through 2 different email addresses to get to our end game there, to get to the buyer. So whoever is sending those monies on behalf of the buyer wants to verify that the instructions are secure. Call us, verify that the routing and account number match exactly on the line. Call your bank and verify the wiring instructions are secure. And then we'll confirm that they're secure on our end as well. And then whenever you are receiving wire instructions through an email, which is generally how you're going to receive them, you do need to pick up the phone and call. Don't trust the instructions, please call.
So one of the things you can do is take the dollar amount over to a local bank. They usually have a relationship with the title companies in town, and you can have them call over and get the wire instructions to ensure that you have the right stuff too. That's another way to do it. And just double check, triple check, you want to make sure that money's going where it's supposed to be going.
Yes, wiring instructions received in an email can be very easily intercepted. So just make sure you're doing some due diligence to protect your money.
Thanks, Marie. Thanks, Wanda, for having us at Ward Title today. And hopefully this helps you guys understand what's happening at closing and what happens behind the scenes at the title company.
Thank you.
Thank you.